Good evening, my fellow settlers. Gather round and listen well. Today we stand on the brink of a new chapter in our journey, a chapter filled with promise and abundance. As we prepare for the upcoming building enhancements, we must turn our attention to the lifeblood of our settlement, our fields, our pastures, and our orchards. First, let us speak of our cultivated farm fields. The fields are not just patches of earth, they are the very foundation of our sustenance. We will expand our arable land, planting a diverse array of crops that will nourish our bodies and fill our granaries. With each seed we sow, we are investing in our future, ensuring that our tables are laden with fruits of our labor. Together, we will cultivate a bounty that will sustain us through the seasons, bringing prosperity to our community. Next, we shall establish sheep pastures, where these gentle creatures can roam freely and thrive. Sheep are not only a source of wool and meat, but also a symbol of our agricultural strength. By nurturing these flocks, we will provide warmth and sustenance for our families, while also creating new opportunities for trade. Imagine the soft woolen garments that will keep us warm in the winter, crafted from the very sheep that graze in our pastures. And let us not overlook the beauty and bounty of our apple orchards. These trees will not only bear delicious fruit, but also serve as a testament to our commitment to growth and sustainability. As we plant these orchards, we are planting the seeds of tradition and community. The sweet scent of blossoms in the spring and the joy of harvest in autumn will bring us together, celebrating the fruits of our labor and the bonds that we share. As we embark on this journey of enhancement, I call upon each of you to lend your hands and hearts to this noble cause. Together we will transform our land into a tapestry of abundance, where farm fields flourish, pastures thrive, and orchards bloom. The future of our manor is bright, and it is ours to shape. So rise with me, my fellow villagers, my settlers, my people of the manor. Let us embrace this opportunity to cultivate not just our land, but also our thriving community. Heyo and welcome to another episode of Build&Battle Season 3, where we will build a beautiful medieval city while battling off famine, mutiny, and the bitter cold. In the last episode, we prepped our central city area for the upcoming patch by providing a huge marketplace, tavern, trading post, and a few select burgage plots. So if you happen to miss the last episode, then click on the info card above, or if you're looking for a new Manor Lords series to binge watch, then check out the entire Build&Battle Season 3 playlist located in the description below. In today's episode, I want to increase our food production, as we also introduced our tithe in the previous episode and thus wish to gain more influence as well as actual food for our growing population. Therefore, we will be adding another farm area, more apple orchards, and increasing our sheep trade, as this has honestly been a surprisingly profitable business. So are you enjoying Build&Battle Season 3? If so, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you are most excited to see with the upcoming patch. If you can't wait to see the season unfold, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks, emojis, and early access to videos. And don't miss out on our Build&Battle Season 3 merchandise linked in the description below. Alrighty everyone, I'm wicked excited to start today's build, so kick back, grab your caffeinated beverage of choice, and let's jump right on into it. Let's begin today's episode by implementing one of our strongest producers of food, farms. I do not intend for this farm to be particularly big, although we know at this point that, I tend to get a little lost in the designs and, I just keep building. I do want this to be an emmer-only farm area as well. We are currently doing just fine with our barley and our flax production, and today's aim is to increase our tithe and our food production for our growing population. So what we're actually looking at right now is we are on the top of the cliff, kind of where our first building area, central area is. Right down here is the piggies and the goaties. We have some of our apple orchards over here. Right here is where I'm thinking we are going to put this farmland, as it has a wonderful line of sight from the city center. So let's start our design by creating an anchor point of sorts with the farmhouse first. The farmhouse will allow us to provide labor to the fields and give us a little bit of height amongst the fields. Next, I want the windmill as close to the farmhouse as possible for the aesthetic look that these two assets provide when fused together. You get some medium height from the farmhouse and some tall height from the windmill. It also helps with our efficiency as it allows the field hands to move the grain to the windmill faster and thus process the grain into flour faster. Finally, let's get some of the fields in and kind of box them around the farmhouse and the windmill before we unpause the game and watch these assets grow in. Okay, that took an obnoxious amount of time to actually get the fields fenced in and the farmhouse equipped with a heavy plow. Really don't understand why. But if you look at it from this point of view where we had started, you get that line of sight just the way I wanted it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we will not be rotating barley or flax into these fields themselves. However, I am still going to add in a crop rotation of sorts. So here is kind of the game plan. I want each field to have a rotation of 2 years with emmer and 1 year of fallow. This way we aren't depleting our fertility, and in fact, we will actually be boosting our fertility with the fenced-in fields and the pastures that upgrade, that development point that we have gives us. So let's go on in here and let's work on that crop rotation. So this does lead us into our next build, sheep farming. Now, my plan with the sheep farming is to 1, replenish our fertility, and 2, increase our sheep trade, as this has been a surprisingly successful business endeavor. So if we kind of take a look here, we can actually see our all-time imports and exports in this little tab here. So if I come into all-time exports, we have made a little over 5,000 gold in the sheep. Out of everything, all time since Namateen was founded, this has been the highest. Now, in the last couple of days, it hasn't been particularly great, but we did just roll over into a new month. So I'm hoping that this will increase a little bit. So yeah, I do want to capitalize on this sheep trade quite a bit. So this will not be a particularly huge build, but I do want to get an additional sheep farm into this area so that we do have some livestock farmers collecting the wool, tending to the sheep, and raising them for trade and meat production. So let's wiggle in a sheep farm in here, and I do want this to be kind of close to the King's Road and the livestock residential area, but also kind of close to the farm fields. So while I'm not going to be as close to the King's Road as I was hoping, I think I'm going to put it right in here so that, you know, we are at least close here. I like the fields here too much to delete one and put it down here where I originally planned, and instead I'm going to go right here. Like I said, I get lost in the designs sometimes. Now, I will come over to the livestock trading post and increase our maximum capacity of sheep and lambs to about 150. That way we keep a constant flock of 150 sheep for our settlement to provide fertility in our fields, and the rest will be processed into either meat or gold respectively. So while I was actually updating these numbers here so that we kept 150 sheepies, I kind of had a thought. We may not actually end up seeing much production in sheep trade, and that might be why when we come in here, we're not seeing anything in the current month and last 30 days, because if the sheep are in excess, they're probably getting processed into meat. I'm actually still okay with this. We, as you can see, are -4 meat, and I do want to make sure we are constantly ahead on our food because we have a 560 population and so much more room for growth. So The initial plan was to trade and turn the sheep into meat and gold, but for now, it will probably just be meat. Our final addition to today's build will be additional apple orchards. I want to finish filling in this area here using the corpse pit method to create beautiful, large apple orchards, which will supply us with more food. I think right now we're harvesting about 300 apples, and I'm hoping this increases with this build, as well as with more families moving into our current empty apple orchard houses. So let's design and fill this area in a nice, relaxing and chill time lapse. Finally, before we wrap up today's episode, let's see if there are any homes we can level up in the city center in preparation for hopefully level 4 burgage plots that I'm really hoping we get in that upcoming patch. Alrighty everyone, I think that just about wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on today's build. If you're excited to see the next episode unfold, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks, emojis, and early access to videos. And don't forget to check out our Build&Battle Season 3 merchandise linked in the description below. Until next time, I hope everyone has a phenomenal week.